Welcome today on this episode of the Chokelahoma podcast. I am Charles Lewis, and this is my special announcer, guest, friend,
sidekick,
partner in crime, Victor Del Fuego Gonzales. As you can see, he brought his girlfriend, Lola, and also our special guest for tonight, Edgar Escalante. He runs the local Jiu-Jitsu Academy in Stillwater. I had it. I practiced in the mirror. I practiced. I know I'm a little.
I just felt like you needed that little push.
I'm a lot of B12 right now. Super ready.
You know, every time we're getting ready for fights and stuff, and I have to fill out our academy and stuff like that, I always cheat and look at AJ's. Because I'm like, what's the name of our gym again? Jiu-Jitsu Academy Stillwater.
How do you spell Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah. My phone corrects me every time. It wants to be J-U-I. Jewy.
Jiu-Jitsu. Hashtag. Chewy. Jiu-Jitsu.
There you go.
I really just want to get one of the academy shirts so I can be sure that I know, right off the bat, just okay, yeah, got it. Jiu-Jitsu Academy.
And when people ask me where it's at, I'm like, yeah, Jiu-Jitsu Academy Stillwater. And I was like, it's the one next to the Walmart.
It's that way.
It's that area. And I never point in the right direction. I'm just like, yeah, over there.
You'll feel it. You'll feel
I can feel
the
the
hard
gym's
work.
presence.
You'll feel the presence and the pressure when you walk by and drive by.
You can just sense where home is at all
Yes.
It's kind of like the force. You're just like, what is going on up in here?
You're driving by, you go, man, force choke.
Just no.
There it is.
Oh, man, last night I was watching Ghost Town.
What?
Have you ever seen that with Ricky? He was from The Office. Ricky something.
I don't know his last name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ricky Gervais?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in Ghost Town, and basically, every time they pass through a ghost,
Yeah.
they sneeze. And I think that's an old wives' tale, isn't it? That's why you say God bless you, because you're to keep the spirits from getting in, the bad
spirits from coming in. Yeah.
I have no idea.
So, it was just cool that they tied that in.
That's neat.
But then
Sloth fingered it.
So you think some people that drive by, they get slowly choked out.
So you mean nobody's thinking about me when I do that? Isn't this whenever your ears get red or you sneeze or you get chills, someone is thinking deeply about you?
Oh, wow.
My great-grandmother on my dad's side used to say, when you hiccup, it means you peed a little bit. And she's like, you better go to the restroom. Every time. It was hilarious.
You go pee.
Little old lady just, you better go to the restroom. You peed a little bit.
Pit stop. Let's go.
She knows.
Wow.
Hey, well, that went deep, man. This is getting personal.
Well, this is what I wanted. I wanted everybody to kind of see everybody here as kind of not just as an athlete, which we know you are. We know you are. I'm not, but I'm getting there. I'm getting good. I'm getting sick.
Been working on it. Practice 3 times a week.
That's right.
Hey.
Got 2 gis, dude. It's getting serious. I don't even have 2. Well, I had
the
2
rule
gis.
of thumb. This is the rule of thumb in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
When you have 3 gis, you are in. You are a professional athlete.
It's serious.
Oh no.
Yes. 1 gi is for a hobbyist.
Yeah.
2 gis is for amateurs.
Right.
3 gis, you're a professional jiu-jitsu athlete.
That's what's up.
See, you're already halfway there. You're more than halfway there. I only have 1.
I'm still looking at these. I have no idea why.
Don't go down the rabbit hole.
No, I'm not. Because I saw this one, that one from Fuji I was telling you about, the fully camouflage one, because I'm scared of lead locks, arm locks, choking.
You can't lock what you can't see.
I just want to be a floating head so that they can attempt to choke me out. So
you want to be like the Wizard of Oz.
Basically.
Whenever they go to get your neck, you're like, oh, it disappeared.
Yeah, because like
a turtle.
The wizard. That's what I would call it.
The Wiz.
The Wiz.
Let's not have any more nicknames for me. What is it? Chuck Diesel, Bigfoot,
Chuck Wagon.
Yeah.
Chuck Wagon.
Yeah.
The Diesel's my favorite.
The Diesel's the best. There's no getting around it.
No.
It's Chuck Diesel.
Chuck Diesel.
Well, everybody here in the gym now is calling you Chuck Diesel.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the kids are like, "Where's Chuck Diesel at today?"
Because I'm awesome.
We've got some characters though. We've got the Caboose is my favorite nickname. Out of
Caboose.
all, Caboose is my favorite nickname. Like,
I don't know. I like Little Sister too.
Little Sister's
that
pretty
was pretty good.
I will say that Little Sister will go down as probably one of the best nicknames.
What happened? What were you even like doing to like come up with that?
I have no clue how it happened.
You're just like,
Well, I think how it happened was a little bit of backstory was we have a young man, and he's always joking around. He's serious about training, but he's always joking around, and he's big, he's tall, he's very strong, and he feels that he can intimidate people. You know, he's in that stage where intimidation is always a big thing. You know, with young men.
He's like a teenager,
Right.
So it's kind of like they're gonna try to be
Right,
enough.
exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone did.
And so when Victor first came in and started training, he was like, "Who's that little guy? Look at him, so scrawny. He's a fighter. Are you sure? I can take him. I can choke him." And so then him and Victor started becoming training partners, you know, just like everybody else. And it got to a point where all he would do is just wait for Victor to show up. He would he would literally wait by the entrance and sit down by it. And he's just like, "Oh, I think that's Victor. What does he drive? Is it a truck? No, it's a car. A car? No. Just forget about it. Come back in. Just come back in and warm up with everybody else. We'll just kind of hang out before class." He's like, "Forget you guys. There he is. There's Victor." And he'd just wait for him every single time. And Victor would walk in and he'd be like, "What's up, chump?"
Dude, like, for real. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, all this hostility as soon as I walk in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what we used to do to each other all the time. Like,
Oh, yeah.
How many times did we walk into the Thai gym and it was like, "Sup, nerd"?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just constant. But I mean, this was playful, though.
Oh, believe me, if people don't really think like it was like when it was like "Sup, nerd," like who really is that? I'm like a 1950s bully.
Yeah.
Like what?
You
like
nerd.
grease back hair, just like a.
Hey, why you
Pack
gotta
of
talk about my creased hair?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. It looks good on you though.
Oh, yeah.
You pulled off.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like,
You're not
those
wearing-
other guys, they look nice.
honestly, you're not wearing like one of those like white hands with like a cigarette.
Dude,
rolled
that's
up
like my
into
favorite
that.
look.
No, don't.
Doc
Don't.
Martens,
Stop that.
tight jeans, cuff pants, a
God.
leather jacket, and a white t-shirt, dude. Oh,
No.
With
That's the
the
look.
hair slicked back.
You better
and
be in
it's
like
tough.
you better be on a
The,
set of Grease.
The
when
denim
that happens.
jacket or
Yeah.
the leather jacket.
I've
One or
got
the
a
other.
black denim too. Dude, you went to
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Greasers.
Oh, okay.
Funny boy, man.
Yeah.
Tulsa.
We'll do
With
it.
the suspenders I got, those leather suspenders, dude.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
That's what scares people. That's why they
The leather
immediately want to
suspenders.
start stuff because
Yes.
I've got the leather suspenders on.
It's like, bro, he went to the haberdashery and got them.
Haberdashery.
It's like that's like my favorite word to use.
Coming
Like,
in
if,
hard
I
with
can, if, I,
haberdashery.
if I can use that, just like a men's store that sells wallets, chains for your watch, and a nice belt. Ooh,
Just trying to work
no.
that into everyday conversation.
You beneficial.
You mean like a haberdashery?
It was like what? The diesel haberdashery. Have you
Diesel
been,
has haberdashery.
That's the one.
It's just
Right there.
The diesel haberdashery.
That's the next shirt. That's
It
what
sounds
gonna
like they
sell.
sell, like-
Diesel has-
Like they sell. Yes, that's the next shirt. Diesel haberdashery.
Goodness, I really want to make.
It sounds like they sell marijuana products there.
Oh no,
Or
no,
like
it's a
vape
haberdashery.
What you said?
The diesel haberdashery. Dude, seriously, it
No.
sounds like a
Uncultured
weed store.
Uncultured
Yeah.
people will be in there, and that's probably like the first thing. But no, I will educate them and show them all sorts of men accessories. That sounds really weird, but men accessories. It's gonna
Just
smell.
accessorize your man.
It's
Like what?
gonna smell like mahogany and leather. All very manly, all
Like-
in it. You know.
No, I'm not gonna say.
I was thinking. He's like, oh, people are gonna see this.
We're gonna calm down from this. We're gonna.
Sorry,
So
guys.
we never really-
Lola got us excited. That's
Yeah,
what
very much.
Everybody's
so.
trying to show off and be like alpha male for Lola here. Everybody wants her love.
By the way, tell everybody how you got this. By the way, because I know everybody's asking like, why is there a belt? in
Why
between
is
them?
there a
Why
belt?
is this guy have it right here? Why are we calling it Lola?
Why are we calling her Lola? Well, Lola, I met her on, was it October 21st? October 21st. Known about her. They called me up. They're like, hey, Victor, do you want to fight for the FCF flyweight amateur championship?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, who's the guy? And so they gave me a name, and I was like, cool, you know, no big deal. Started getting to work. Edgar calls me up, or not really calls me up, but hits me up on text a couple like weeks into training camp, and he's like, hey, how do you feel about going against the number 2 guy in Oklahoma? Number 2 ranked guy. And I was like, whoa, sounds fun. Let's do this. It sounds like I'm going to be number 2 soon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I accepted that fight because the initial guy dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we had the fight. 56 seconds into it, I felt a tap.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 57 seconds into it, I felt a tap.
Mm-hmm.
They called the fight at 56.
Mm-hmm.
So I held on too long. But I didn't feel this tap.
It's sometimes hard to kind of feel like those taps, especially when you're in your situation.
Yeah.
The lights, the cameras, the people yelling.
Well, it's tough when the guy that's tapping is doing the ghost tap.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I didn't feel this.
Right.
You know? I heard.
That's why you almost got tap, kids.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah.
tap.
I
Definitely. If you feel like it's going too hard, just tap. Just tap.
Just
no shame.
Don't
That
try.
needs to be another
No shame.
shirt. That's another
Just
shirt.
tap.
Hashtag just tap.
Just tap. Don't do it. It's not fun to black out. I've had that happen. It's not.
It's not fun to break your arms, man.
Oh no, definitely not.
That's not
The worst
fun.
thing is when you just hyperextend it, like the elbow, the joint.
Oh yes.
It's not broke. It's not cracked. It's not fractured of any kind. It's just
It's gonna feel weird.
you're stuck like this for like 6 months
It's like a chicken
at least.
on that 50.
Yeah, I do so many stories of how many people I've seen. They refuse to tap. Elbows all the way out, hyperextended, and the person lets go, and they go home and they cool off, and it's like that.
You're like, oh, the rest of the
Yeah,
time.
they
Maybe
walk.
T-Rexing, yeah.
They walk around.
That
They walk around like
the
this.
guy after your fight, you know, he was like this.
Yeah.
He had a Sam splint and everything
Yeah.
wrapped up and everything. It was intense.
rough.
I can't believe it. I was so excited. Like I remember being there in the stands. I was way up in the nosebleeds, so not really nosebleeds. It was a good venue.
It was a good venue. I love that.
I like that
seating.
you were looking down
Yeah.
into
You
the
look
cage.
down into the cage, and it was good for like film and all sorts of, pretty much everything. I wish I could have filmed it after I saw it, because I know like a lot of promotions they have a hard time, like especially if they have like the large in between parts for the octagon.
Mhm.
It's hard for people to see if they got those good table tickets.
Yeah.
They're close. But if you're far back and you kind of look down in it, that's what's up.
Yes, I'm sure.
One of the things I was going to say is, yeah, I finished the guy in 56 seconds in the first round, got my title, got Lola. But the thing that I was going to say is that's not the first time that's happened. Like,
No.
a lot of people hear, oh, you got a 56-second armbar? That's cool. That's a fluke.
No.
No, it's kind of like my MO. Like,
I've been here for your the other
the other Oklahoma fights. But even before that, man, like my first amateur fight was 17 seconds.
That's right.
17-second TKO. So, like, I beat my record
Mm-hmm.
that I have to get this. Like, that's the thing that I want people to see is, like, all these guys that look at my record or look at the last fight and they're like, oh, you know, that's a fluke. You know, he just caught him. No, man, like, this is what I set out to do. If there's an opportunity to finish somebody, it's done. If I see it, I'm attacking it.
That's a fight. You know, if you see some sort of weakness, you kind of jump at it, you get it, you win it.
Yeah, I think I've got 17-second TKO, a 59-second armbar, a triangle choke, but that was in the second round.
No, well,
Yeah,
what was Gladiator?
Is second round. Gladiator
Was
was
an
the-
armbar.
was
Oh,
the
that's
armbar.
right. That's right.
The
We heard that
59-second
pop.
armbar, yeah.
We heard that pop from the crowd.
Legacy was, but that was still early in the round too. That was what, like 30 seconds into round two?
In the second round, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so like they're all relatively early to the start of the round. And then this one, 56 seconds.
That's what you got. That's
So,
what
like,
you gotta do.
As soon as people start getting nervous and they start making those little mistakes, if I'm on the ground, I'm going to snatch it up. Or if I'm taking you down, I'm looking to finish right there and then.
But you bring that constant pressure into the game that you can definitely see from the stands. Like, you know, you match them, everything. They panic, and then what do? Try to bring you down to the ground. That's what happens most of the time. And it's just, That's. I mean, people don't know that you have hands.
Yeah,
Like no other.
Yeah, I have not gotten a chance to showcase it at all. It's the pressure is really something that I learned from Edgar. Like, when we always talk about pressure, like sometimes people are thinking, oh, like he just gets really close, or it's pushing on somebody, or you're laying on top of somebody. It's like mental pressure, or just your presence there starts to make them get nervous.
Right.
And like it takes a while to get used to. Like it didn't make sense to me at first when you first explained it. I had no clue what you're talking about. I was like, what do you mean pressure? Like, I'm just going to hit them. You know, that's how I'm going to cause pressure. You can do it just by standing there, just your presence. That was a really cool thing.
That was pretty cool for this last fight when he got Lola, was that that's all we worked on.
Yeah, that's it.
Just that distance awareness. That's all the pressure is.
Yeah.
The distance, the presence that you said.
Kind of getting that medium.
Is the
area.
intention. Yeah, it's the intent of, of trying to do bodily harm without actually physically doing it. And you make the other guy, like you said, psychologically just be like, it's going to hit me now? No. Oh, man, it's going to hit me. I'm just going to do it first. And people panic.
There's a perfect example in that, like in the photos from the fight, too, where, like, you can see him completely overextended on, like, this, and it's back here. Like, he had missed the punch, and his wrist was, like, almost limp on the end because he was still trying to catch me. Just because you can read people's, like, whenever they've got that much emotion into it, you can read them from a mile away.
Yeah. That's what, what I was going to say, leading on to the next thing was just him learning how to be emotionless, not taking it personal.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. That was the biggest breakthrough that we had.
Right.
Understanding that distance without being too personal about it. It's business. At the end of the day, it's just business. And that's what we always kind of say from the beginning. You go out there, you fight, it's just business. It's not personal.
Right.
Things happen. That's the way it is.
That's good. And just kind of let everybody else know, Edgar also used to be an MMA fighter.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Back
in the day.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like my time was kind of special because it was towards the end of the Dark Ages. Meaning,
it wasn't the Wild West.
Yeah, man.
Where you could have done anything.
We'll put it this way. My first fight was at a bar, and the capacity, I think, is like 720, and there was about like 1,200 people, easy.
Oh, goodness.
Right. So you're walking down in the cage. There's people about 3 feet away from the cage, and they're drinking, they're smoking, people yelling, harassing you because you're not the favorite, and so you have to deal with all that emotional stress.
Those small venues like that.
Yeah,
they always freak me out.
But what I was gonna say though is like that bar was 21 and over. I was only 19, and so when I got done fighting, they literally escorted me out of the cage outside.
What about my shoes?
Yeah, I still had my hand wraps. I only had enough time to take my gloves off.
Yeah.
I had my hand wraps on. I had no shirt on. I had my shorts on, my cup, everything else, barefooted outside, and it was in October in Kansas.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they're like, "Sorry, buddy, it's a 21 and over." I'm like, "But my bag, my stuff is still back there." And they're like, "You're gonna have to call someone to get it for you." So.
Did you not have a coach, or did you just go by yourself?
Well, I got separated because that time we had like 7 guys from the gym fighting.
Okay.
So all the coaches they would walk out, coach you, you're done with your fight, they go to the next guy.
Okay.
And so I think there was someone outside trying to get in still. And I knew them, just acquaintance, and I believe I told him like, "Hey, can you get our manager, gym owner at the time? His name was Nate Cook."
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, can you get Nate and tell him that they kicked me out, but I need to get back in?" Like 5 minutes later, Nate comes out and he's like, "Do you know who he is? Do you know who this guy is?" And the security guys are like, "No, not really. He just got done fighting. Get him in here. Get his ass in here. It's freaking cold out there." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, I need to get inside."
Feel like I'm with this guy.
Yeah, and so they said, as long as you stay in the back, you're cool.
Yeah.
But if we see you go outside and like support my teammates in the crowd, we're kicking you out.
Right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's. I remember that one Thai fight that you had. Remember up in Tulsa, where there was that like 20, 30 person brawl.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
dude.
That was probably I'm gonna be honest. I might have instigated it just a tiny bit.
He's sitting there holding me back,
Okay,
going,
I'm not-
"World star, world star."
Well, first I saw the two women like they were jawing at each other and everything, and then I think I thought something was gonna happen. I didn't mean to yell it. It was just my natural reaction.
Well, your natural
Diesel
reaction
came out.
World star.
World star, and then everything just went hell in a handbag, and I felt so bad.
It was like a tornado because they started swirling, just looked like a mosh pit.
Like, and it was just a mixture of like I don't even know, like frat kids, rednecks, just.
There was fighters in the mix too, and like
They were actually
the promoter comes
in
and is like, if any of the fighters are in this, you'll never fight for this promotion again.
Even like a lot of them were just like they were trying to stop it.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of a fight too, and both of the guys kind of like
They just stopped.
They were in the middle of a slugfest, and they both kind of like, oh, dude, keep going.
Not to kind of change subject, but there was a video that was released not so long ago. I think it's on YouTube. I may be wrong, but two fighters are fighting inside a ring, like MMA style, and a fight breaks out, and both of the fighters jump out, break up the fight, and then they go back in and finish the round.
Come on, guys, we're here for a job.
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. Well, that means you're just not being exciting enough.
That's true. I mean, there's all that rowdiness.
See, that's why maybe the fight was just going on too long. See,
It was the
I'm
second.
preventing fights by finishing quick.
That's true. Hey, that's what you.
I keep them entertained for just that blip.
It was exciting. I will say. I remember I was like with your whole family, just kind of looking down. Like everybody goes, he got on his back. I was like, most people think that's a scary thing, but for you, you excel. I mean, that's just how it is. It's just like right on your back, and I was like, I sat down. I went like this. I was like, it's gonna be done soon.
He's got this.
I ain't even gonna look.
Our buddy Leonidas kind of like looked back at us and like looked at me, and he was like, oh yeah, he's good. And he's just like chilling, just kind of like.
He's like, oh, it's
Wearing this new like flyweight king shirt. He's just like
Dusted it off. Oh, that guy.
that's my friend. I know that.
that's him right there.
I party with him regularly.
Oh goodness. That was a good night. That was a great venue, great people.
Great
Definitely
night.
was, man.
Just our team did great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
Like AJ, he won. I think first round.
First round.
Round.
4
Armbar.
minutes, either 27 or 37 seconds. Armbar. He won armbar from a guard, and AJ won armbar from him.
AJ's, I keep telling him this, his was like a mercy armbar.
It
Because
was.
he was just beating this guy's head in, and like you see the arm go, whoop,
Yeah.
and AJ's just like, I'll let you live. You saw what the little one did.
That's funny. That's true, though.
That is true. I don't doubt it.
No, one thing, though, is a little tidbit fact or trivia that not a lot of people know about that event. Because I feel like that was our event.
Yeah.
You know, it was the first time our gym was headlining
Right.
in the main event with AJ, and simultaneously we were fighting for Lola here in the amateur main event kind of portion of the event. And but interestingly enough, that same venue, that was the first venue that I had coached someone.
Really?
Like 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, this was before they had that really nice setup.
Yeah.
This was when it was just a big like auditorium kind of room,
Right.
and the dressing rooms were in the second floor,
Oh.
and we would have to walk down the down the stairs and then wait, and then to go into the cage. That was back when freestyle cage fighting was
First start.
yeah, it was awesome. So it was really cool, you know. I actually texted Dorothy. She's the promoter and the owner for freestyle cage fighting, and that's what I told her. Like, you may not know this, but I actually like debuted as a cornerman, as an official coach in this same venue like 10 years ago. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, she didn't remember it, but she's like, I remember the event because I told her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I remember that. It's been a long time. We've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh yeah, it was pretty cool. It was special, you know. And it didn't dawn on me until after the event was over that it hit me.
Right.
So for sure, like Lola is just even that much more special.
Second amateur title from there too.
Yeah, second amateur title from freestyle cage fighting. You know, 125 flyweight king and 155 lightweight king. So, you know, and we are super small. We were just talking about this the other day. Like, we don't even have heavy bags.
No.
You know,
Right.
we don't have heavy bags.
Right.
We don't have double M bags or anything. We have a wave master.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we have a wave master that I use in kids class.
Yeah.
That's what we use to get ready. It's crazy because like that's the biggest change that I've gone through is like it used to be like go in, you're here to train. It's got to be hard. It's got to be brutal. I've got to be busting my hands until like my hands are shaking when I take off the gloves. My shins have to be black and blue.
Right.
Before I leave, I've got to roll out my shins. It's got to be this tough grit to get through it. And now it's been like, no. How much of your brain can you use? Can you download the information?
Mm-hmm.
Can you figure out the positions the way that I want you to figure out?
Right.
Can you understand the game more than can you just be a brute and take people's heads off?
That's
I
true.
mean, I'm still doing that. I'm still taking people's heads
Smarter,
off and
very,
arms off, but
We have
I
the
would-
technology.
yeah.
A very,
definitely 2.0.
I would say like a control brawler. Very,
Very technical.
Technical brawler.
very John Wick-esque.
Yeah,
John.
yeah.
Minus the Glock. But, I mean,
How do you escape the trauma?
You sure about that?
oh, I don't know.
There's a reason why that cup looks so big.
It's loaded.
Echo.
What?
Escape, escape, escape.
Goodness.
Now every commission's going to pat me down like 3 times.
They're gonna be like checking like if you ever had like that Cody Garbrandt like tattoo of like the
Yeah.
gun on the back.
It's camouflaged.
Honestly, I don't know how that dude ain't got shot yet because of that. Because just imagine if you were like reaching, like if there was cops and you were like doing
Shirtless.
something, like all of a sudden you saw that, and you're just
Like you're sitting there doing setups.
I think that's a really cool tattoo, though.
that's so dangerous.
It's super
It's
cool.
so
though.
dangerous.
It's cool, I gotta say.
Like
I would never
definitely
get
want
it personally, but it is cool. I will say that it's cool.
I like the throat tat.
Like as
Oh,
many
wow.
people that give him crap about the throat tat, like I want something here.
Well, that's
Would be
the thing.
awesome.
It's like he's got the good beard, it's all kind of funneled into the neck tattoo. I mean, he looks like a really
He's Cody with the good beard.
Cody with the good.
You know what I'm waiting for the neck tat?
What?
Tattoo of Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
No, you need the MMA Mount Rushmore.
oh goodness. Who would be on the MMA route? Your
Ooh,
MMA Mount Rushmore.
Mine would be guys that aren't considered to be good fighters. It's just guys that I love to watch fight.
Yeah.
Like Cub Swanson would probably be on there. So would Chris Lieben would be on there. And Chris Lieben is like, he is the perfect example of a tough fighter
Mhm.
that he just gets through on grit, man. Like he's not technical. He's just going to hit you as hard as he can, and you can do the same to him, but he's not going to fall.
Mhm.
Who else would I put on there? I'd probably put TJ Dillashaw, and I'd probably put Dominic Cruz on there too.
Hopefully on opposite sides.
We're in the middle.
They're both looking at each other.
Facing each other.
They're both looking at each other. I just like.
And then Rob McCullough would be on there, just because like I loved watching that dude fight,
Mhm.
but I also loved his style.
Yeah.
Like that that dude brought like what everybody thinks of as an MMA fighter, like the cocky dude with the
was
sleeves
him.
cut off and
Yeah.
always hanging out with these really awesome chicks. Like that was Rob McCullough.
What about you, Edgar?
Oh gosh. MMA. I gotta put in Hickson
Oh,
for sure. Gotta put in Hickson. Fedor.
right.
Sakuraba.
Yes.
Okay. And for the fourth one, I'm just gonna leave it open.
Oh.
It's
Because there's always
It's gonna
that.
be me or AJ later on.
gonna be both like half and half of each.
Oh, definitely.
Hey, one ear's like this and the other one's like this.
Oh, goodness.
We'll put parts on both sides of the head because I think he has his part on the opposite side. Yeah.
Does he?
My part's on here. I think his part's here.
No.
So I was staring
No,
at
it's
it.
the same
It's
side.
the same
It's the same
side.
side?
It's the
Yeah,
same
okay.
side. Because our...
Not anymore. Not starting tomorrow, AJ. Other side.
He's got to start.
It's like, you gotta go to the other side.
So that we wouldn't be split down the middle. Well, you gotta do this side for me because of the eyebrow.
Oh.
That's like my distinctive feature.
Yeah, I remember when you used to have that line going from the eyebrow up through your head.
Yeah,
Like, exactly, like, what was it, right here?
It was like
Yeah.
super douche. It was a faux hawk here, like a tight fade here, and then it went shh. But now I get a man's haircut.
A classical.
Yeah, a classic men's haircut.
Championship worthy haircut.
Exactly. At Downtown Barbershop Stillwater. Not a plug.
Not
Un-
a plug. Not a
What is
plug.
it? It's a shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
It's a shameless plug.
And unofficial official plug.
Unofficial, official plug.
Non-official.
It's just my favorite place in Stillwater.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I've been in there a couple
nice.
times. It's so cool.
It's come a long ways.
Oh,
Dude,
definitely. It's atmosphere's nice. People's friendly and everything.
Yeah.
It's a place to be for a lot of people.
For real. It's awesome.
Oh, goodness.
So what else were we going to talk about? I know you had something else planned for us to talk about. We keep getting off on like tangents. And
No,
Mount
I like-
Rushmore.
Honestly, I really like this. You know, just kind of like free flowing, kind of like talking about what we like in the MMA
Yeah.
world right now.
For sure.
I guarantee no one that tunes into this podcast thought that they were going to hear about Razor Rob McCullough.
No.
Like no one
Yeah.
thought I was going to pull that out.
That's
of
a name
nowhere.
that only way hardcore, way back in the day, kind of have people
You're gonna
find
have
out
like
about.
guys like in rocking chairs. Razor
Yeah,
McCullough.
Yeah.
he was. It was
I
back
haven't
when
heard that name in 40.
Yeah,
Jamie Varner.
Jamie Varner, like the fights he had with Jamie Varner, man, it was some awesome fights. That was awesome. That was the WEC days, man.
Mhm.
That was
That was like pre-Benson Henderson. Too.
yes, way pre. And then that was around the time when I was really getting into watching the sport.
Right.
So I loved it. So those little guys, quote unquote, right?
What was like the first thing that like was like, this is awesome. Like I can't believe this is a thing.
For me, it was a fight between Clay Guida
Uh-huh.
and Tyson Griffin.
Ooh, that's
That
good.
fight.
That.
Yeah, before that, I had watched the Ultimate Fighter, the first one, the finale. You know, the Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. Which,
That's the thing that got me. And like right after that, like I got to watch the, what was it, Iceman versus Randy
Randy
Couture.
Couture.
yeah.
versus Randy
Well,
Couture.
I watched all those fights.
Mm-hmm.
None of them, I liked them. None of them intrigued me. But when I saw the Clay Guida and Griffin fight, oh man, it was just insane. Just the high pace. I thought it was very technical. I was like, whoa, like,
Right.
I can't believe people do that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
At 155, like I'm about 155 right now. That'd be cool. Like I can fight these guys. And so my goal when I got into it was like, I want to fight this guy.
Yeah.
And
You also kind of look like Tyson Griffin.
kind of.
Same body.
Yeah, that was the first one for me.
What about you?
For me, it was like I said, my first fight that I ever saw was not Chuck Liddell. It was Tito Ortiz and Lyoto Machida. And that one, I mean, that's not like a huge staple fight, but that was the first time I actually like saw it and liked it. I was like, oh, this guy's cool because I saw Tito and he had like, you know, the Mexican and the American flag, and he was like, yeah, he's getting pumped up. He's got the flames on his shorts. Like that just drew me in.
Obviously.
Because I was like, oh, dude, like I could totally, because I'd already like fiddled around with being in bands and stuff, and
Right.
I wanted more than anything to be a rock star.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this, and I was like, these guys are rock stars.
Mhm.
Like, and now with MMA is the closest I would get to being a rock star because I cannot sing. But the fighter that I latched onto the most was early Uriah Faber fights. She was just like super like
He was a tank.
almost and well, not even a tank, because I think of like describing someone as a tank as they're just gonna walk through you, right?
Right.
Well, like Faber was still like throwing like ridiculous stuff like out of nowhere, just like off angles and stuff like that. Like just
with the fight with Mike Brown, where he
had to remind
busted both of his hands.
Still throwing elbows.
And he was just clinching. Yeah, he wasn't even clinching. He was just letting Mike Brown come in and just start countering with the elbows.
Is it the Ronnie Yaya fight where he had him up against the cage and then he knees him with a free knee? So like he's got this leg in the air and he knees him with the only leg he has to stand on. Whop! I might be wrong. It might not be Ronnie Yaya. I know he fought. What's the other dude?
Well, with all my viewers, someone's going to be out there to correct us out there. You know.
Is it Pat Curran or Jeff Curran? Yeah, Pat's the cousin, right? Jeff Curran's the older one.
Jeff is the original.
Yeah.
Curran.
The big frog.
The big frog.
Yeah, dude, that dude was insane too. Like, really good grappler, dude. Like, really. And and then like the size of Uriah Faber, because I was about like 5'5".
Yeah.
Now I've grown an inch, I'm 5'6", so I'm the same as Uriah Faber.
Mm-hmm.
And the weight class 145, and his style, he was a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So all those things kind of matched with me. And then just his, tenacity. Like he was gonna go out there and he was gonna do whatever it took to win.
Right.
He's like, oh, there's something here.
Right.
It doesn't have to be thought out. There was really no like, I don't know. It just seemed like there was no game plan.
Mm-hmm.
It was just whatever happens in the moment, I'm gonna go with.
Right.
Or that go with the flow, or to quote Hickson, the flow with the go.
No, that was same thing. Uriah Faber. That was when he was in his heyday. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that was when he had beaten Dominic one arm guillotine.
That's when he was really still the California kid. He wasn't the California old man.
No, that was. But even then, personally, I loved to watch him fight, but I hated that he would win.
Yeah.
For some reason, like I just hated that. Like this guy has to lose. He has to lose. I don't care. And but man, it was awesome. But it really tickled my fancy when I saw an old video of Tyson Griffin versus Uriah Faber.
Oh yeah.
And Tyson won. And I was standing in the public sitting in the public library computer, downloading it, and I was watching it, and then it happened. I saw the fight, and when the referee stopped it, I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Dude, whenever I saw him get finished by, is it Matt Brown that finished him? The first person to beat him in WC.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that happened, dude, that's when I was like 16, I think, and I was watching it late at night on, I think it was like Versus or something like that. I was watching, I'm just like this, sitting there right after the wrestling practice, just like, come on, Faber. And then he gets knocked out. No! I like threw the TV, and I was like, no! Like jumped in bed, covered my head, and was like, no, it's not real. Like I hated it. I was so like, that was my idol for a while.
So
it crushed me.
We've gotten over this, though. Like you're over.
We haven't gotten over this. I did the same
It's
thing
been
with
put on
Conor
hold.
McGregor.
It's been put on hold.
It's been put on hold.
I did the same thing with Conor
for special
McGregor.
events.
Oh goodness.
And I did the same thing when Cub Swanson lost. I about cried at I think it was at Twin Peaks. I about cried this weekend.
Oh goodness. That was a tough fight. And I love watching Coach Swanson. I mean, he's literally the guy that's like, I feel pinnacle of like, doing MMA. Like,
that YouTube video they have of his highlight, that beautiful destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that is the perfect like highlight reel and the perfect like phrase to describe him.
Yeah. And it's just
he's just
that
so
one knockout where he just flings that other guy's mouth guard off into the kid and just like boom. You're just like, dang. I felt that. Oh, that was in slow motion. I was just like, my tooth hurts. I was just like, you just see the power, you see the finesse, you see like an artistry.
Yeah, talk about a guy that gets to flow state, man. A guy that is really locked into the fight. Like he's not concerned with any type of like distraction outside what's right in front of him. Right. For me, that's what flow state is. When you're just dead set focused and you're allowed to move freely.
Right. Goodness. A lot of people don't know that, they think of him like more of as a brawler and everything, but he's got a black belt.
Yeah. It's funny because when WEC days and stuff, back when he was making his name for himself, he used to train out of I think CSW, Combat Submission Wrestling.
Yes.
Eric Paulson and Josh Barnett.
Oh, okay.
And then when he went to the UFC, I believe he started switch camps over to Jackson's.
Yeah.
And then now he's with Dillashaw.
Yeah.
They started a new kind of camp.
They're like super camp kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, but yeah, for sure, like his black belt, I mean, it's no slouch. It's very, very respected.
I mean, thinking like the way he was wrapping people up. I mean,
Yeah.
like it was like, I don't know, like he was getting those belly down arm bars, like, I don't know, throwing himself like crazy. He's a judo black belt too, isn't he?
I don't know. I
think I saw it the other day. He was just like whipping people with these amazing judo throws. Like he was muscling them over, but like once they got airborne, dude, he was
Nice.
just launching these guys.
Even those like cartwheel kicks that he was like
Oh,
hitting on people.
it's just ridiculous.
First of all, I'm gonna give credit to Do-Ho Choi. I know he's probably never gonna see this, but dear God, you have a granite chin. Amazing.
What's that meme of the
Piece of granite.
It's a piece of granite in Doho Choi, and then it has
Virtually identical.
yeah,
The Mike Goldberg.
virtually identical. Abu Dhabi.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, this kid is gonna forget all sorts of algebra, math,
His name.
Yeah.
First cousins.
But first cousins, all that. Because,
His nickname is the
Super Boy.
the Korean Super Bowl.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's the Korean Super Boy.
okay.
Who are you thinking of?
I was thinking someone else.
They got that other guy that's the Korean
Wait.
zombie.
No, not him. Human Choi. Wait, what does he look like?
Oh man, Choi.
Who's Human Choi?
Or I mean,
Dude,
sorry.
Doho Choi.
Doho Choi.
Doho Choi.
Sorry.
He has a really like little kid. Like he
Oh
kind of
wait,
looks
yeah.
like
I'm getting confused with is that Holman Choi?
Oh yeah.
It's that big heavyweight dude, giant. They call him the Korean techno zombie. That's what I was getting confused.
That's like the techno Viking just.
Yes, but not as fluid
No,
in movement.
not.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
I gotta give him credit. I saw that and I was just like, "There's no way." And then he hit that cartwheel kick, and I jumped out of my seat. I was like, "No way he survived that." And there he was. He was just like, boom, boom. He was still kind of hitting it, even though he was rocked. And then he hit it again 3 times. I think he hit that.
It's kind of like that's like the next thing, like the next fad
Yeah.
in fighting.
Is,
You know, like who can do like those cartwheel kicks and
I remember with GSP
like
for a while.
capoeira kind of style.
It was that Superman punch. Everybody
Yeah.
wanted to land a
Superman jab.
punch. Superman jab, yeah.
It's my favorite.
I still use it, and like a lot of people are still trying to get like that up on it and then punch down at you. Use it to like cut the distance, and then you switch into a shot off of it. Dude, it's awesome.
Most definitely. All that. I still can't. I'm replaying it in my mind. I just can't.
I feel like everybody is eventually going to be like Voidka. Remember that movie, Undisputed?
Boyka,
Yes.
I think so.
I want to be the most complete fighter in all the world.
Yes.
This
Okay.
is my one true gift.
Yeah. I think everybody's heading in that direction. I give it another 5 years, and people are gonna be like doing tornado kicks in the air, 360s, and knocking out people in one
Well,
shot.
I mean, you've already got Demetrius Johnson.
Of course.
Demetrius Johnson, there is nothing he can't do.
Demetrius Johnson is like the Vasily Lomachenko version of MMA.
Yes.
He's in the Matrix.
He
He controls the Matrix kind of thing.
He's super intense with all his fights and everything. And I've never really seen him kind of filter or anything. That he just controls it. You can just see that presence, the way he does stuff, the way he controls the other person. It's.
Well,
I'm gonna say like I'm a novice, but when you see someone in their element and something like that, you can take someone off the street and go like, that guy's something special.
Yeah. I mean, part of it is he's always fought in the wrong weight class until 125 came about.
Right.
So yeah, everything had to be absolutely perfect in
Yeah.
order for his techniques to work.
Yeah, he always fought in the wrong weight class. He was fighting at like 55, 45, 35, and then 25 came about.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fight with Dominic Cruz at 135, it was competitive, but that was it. Dominic was just the bigger version of him.
Right.
You know, Mighty Mouse didn't have the size to rough him up,
Right.
and he didn't have same thing. He just didn't have the size to make his shots count.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
what? He's like 5'3".
Something like
How
that.
long is his reach?
Can't be more than like 60 inches, maybe.
Man.
Because he's not like got super crazy gorilla arms.
No.
He's proportional.
Yes, very proportional.
So,
what do you think about that whole like TJ Dillashaw him?
dude, I want that to happen so bad.
Honestly, I kind of want to have Dillashaw go down in a weight class, have a fight, and then do that. Because honestly, if they were to go straight head to head, I don't think that would be fair to Mighty Mouse and what he's already accomplished.
I think it's logical for Mighty Mouse the next step. But just like in that recent interview, though, he's got to get paid, man.
Yeah.
We're in the era now where money makes sense in the fights. Like, it is a super fight, but it has, in order to be a super fight, not only do you gotta have the right talent to go against, right? But you gotta have also the money behind it. You can't just say, I'm gonna have a super fight with this guy, and you get paid peanuts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be
Not at that level.
Money.
Right. I mean, you're talking about like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Having a one-on-one game.
You know, like people are gonna have to pay out, everything. They're gonna take out a loan just to watch these fights.
Yeah.
But right now that's the thing. Like, will that happen? I mean, the fight's gonna happen, but are they gonna get paid?
Yeah.
If they don't get paid, I don't consider that a super fight. I just consider that just another title defense.
Right.
The other thing that's really cool to think about is I don't know if you guys watched any like the highlights from the Lomachenko fight, but that's a guy that could be the next big crossover from boxing to the UFC.
He could
because he's got the wrestling background.
He does.
Does he?
Yeah.
He could
He has some slick wrestling,
dude. And then the way he moves, it's perfect for MMA.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the stiff boxer, the boxer that tries to roll and gets
Frankenstein,
blasted.
dragging the back leg.
And gets blasted in the face with a knee or can't defend a double leg. This is a guy that's very agile, very.
I mean, you saw that one, like that little like clip came out with him and TJ. Like,
I think now there's like a 2-minute clip.
Yeah. Just even from that, you can kind of see they were just straight up boxing, but you can saw that, movement.
Yeah, you can see that if he were to, also train the other aspects of MMA, I think he would do very well for sure. I mean, it has to take time, but I think he could definitely cross over for sure.
Yeah, the only other dynamic he would have to incorporate, I think, would be submission defense.
Right.
And then he would have to incorporate kicking. But those don't, and it doesn't have to be like a big tie round kick. It can be like just
to make the other guy go, oh.
So that way it makes you aware of it.
I mean, Dan Henderson, who really thought that he was going to throw a high kick on Hector Lombard, and then Hector Lombard got the second one. Got the second one and was just like, what?
I remember, speaking of high kicks and Dan Henderson, I remember when he got brought over to UFC from Pride, and they were doing the countdown, and he was gonna fight Rampage.
Oh,
I believe. I think it was Rampage the champion then, but whoever the champion was. But anyways, and they were showing him work the mitts, and he was throwing some, decent combinations with his hands.
Yeah.
And then he started throwing kicks. I was like, "You've got to be kidding me! This guy's a 2-time Pride champion, like two weight classes simultaneously champion. What is going on? Like, this must be a joke, And at the time, I didn't know much about it. And I was like, no wonder Pride just went down. And like, those guys suck. If this guy's their champion, But that was kind of crazy. But then you saw what really, mixed martial arts was.
Yeah.
Just because you may not be physically gifted in one particular area doesn't mean that you will lose. Dan
Henderson, God, I remember I used to. I don't know. He's just the epitome of like old man strength.
Yes.
Like he's just. He brought such an intensity to everything. Not just like, even with his wrestling, he was just intense. You just go, and then he drops the H-bomb out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's like, boom, and it's just the ferocity that really a lot of people get. Huh.
I just making sure that everyone knows that I slipped that.
You slipped?
It was right here.
Oh, yeah.
I almost got hit with an H-bomb.
Almost,
Always.
Gotta
Always
be ready.
ready.
Always
Always ready.
Gotta be ready for a leg check too.
What's it? To quote Chris Cyborg, I'm ready.
I'm
ready.
I'm ready.
UFC. UFC. Every Brazilian's gonna hate me for saying UFC.
Not as much as Colby
Well, you're kind of saying it
Covington.
right though.
Yeah.
The vowels. Ooh.
Not as much as Covington.
Oh, let's not go there. Let's not do that one. Savages. See, I would getting called savage for me would be a compliment. I want to be a savage. I want to be filthy. I want to be dirty. You know, I want to be known as that guy that you don't want to fight that dude. You might beat him, but it's gonna suck.
I really like.
You're gonna regret going up.
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
really
suck.
like the way Verdiem kind of like handled the situation. Honestly, I like the way the presentation, the boomerang out of the Walmart sack was probably my favorite thing. I think that was the perfect way. Like I respect that on a very deep level of like Walmart sack, boomerang, and just pop.
Let him have it.
Lot, you know. Also, I liked his theory of it was going to come back to him as soon as it hit him.
He just had his hand out and he's like,
I played, you know,
lie.
Zelda or Ocarina at the time. I know that boomerang come back. I mean,
I've seen Tom and Jerry, man.
oh, definitely.
No, this works.
Exactly. I mean, if you toss it, it hits someone and it comes right back.
Well, you know, like with that, the kind of more serious note, with that incident, you know, with
Cody Covington. Oh, Colby Covington.
Colby Covington.
He's got a weird name.
It's like we all know what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
He was trying to be the more in-your-face version of Sonnen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Chael Sonnen.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember when he was fighting Anderson Silva, he was saying stuff like, "I'm going to come into your house, slap your wife in the ass, and tell her that I like my steak medium rare." Yeah. And the first time the Nogueira brothers came to the United States, they tried to feed the bus carrots.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. That set the Brazilian war on fire.
Oh, definitely.
But this guy is just taking it to hold. He has a death threat. You know, he wants.
He's
get after him.
just wanting like a whole bunch of people just to go after him. Like,
Right.
The other thing is, like, all these guys are just looking for attention in these weird, like, ways. They're just trying to be as, like, bright and shiny as they possibly can be, and no one's trying to be original anymore.
Right. I mean, I understand. Like, he deserves credit for beating Darren Maya.
Yes.
But at the same time, in that fight, he got bloodied up by someone who primarily their weapon is grappling, who has decent boxing at best, and he was getting lit up.
Right.
You can't really talk much smack
No.
when that happens. You know, it would be different if he would have gone in and done like the Nate Marquardt,
Yeah.
knocked him out like in 6 seconds.
Right.
I've been different. I've been like, "Yep, what's up? What's up now?" He barely got out of the fight.
I mean, Damian Maya's big name. I mean, that's really.
And the thing with that, like, Damian Maya does have a big name, but he's on the down.
Yeah.
So at the same time, it's not much of a. It's a big accomplishment. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's not as big as everybody in the MMA world that's trying to promote Colby Covington is making it out to be.
Yeah.
He was trying to make the most out of the first 15 seconds that he got.
Right.
Now he's going to get another shot to be a big name. He's going to have some more time in that light. But that first 15 seconds, he showed the world his true colors. He showed that he's going to go out there and pimp himself out any way he can.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really the.
That's the
I
word.
don't
I think that's the
know.
word.
Pimping yourself out,
Yeah. I
You
mean,
gotta sell yourself out a little bit. You know?
I mean, I do the same thing when people ask.
But even if he doesn't mean it, it's
Right.
too late now. He's already.
he's already that guy.
He already went into that rabbit hole. He can't get out of it.
Right. He's already that guy. You know, I wish there was more fighters that was a little bit more. I wouldn't know.
Reserved?
Not reserved. I wouldn't want them. I want them to kind of be like Rose Namajunas when she goes like, you know what? I really don't hate anybody. I love everybody. I just want to promote that I love everybody. You know, this is just, you know.
She kicked me in the face, bro. She's not nice.
Oh.
First time I ever met her. Kicked me in the face. She came for a seminar.
Long
Kicked
hair?
me in the face.
No hair.
Long hair.
Long hair.
When she first started dating
HD Pat Bear.
Pat Bear, yeah. That was when I was living in Houston, training at Chokelahoma MMA.
Mm-hmm.
They had a seminar that they came out for, and Pat raised his hand. He's like, "Hey, so who wants to actually like train hard? Who's needs to do some work today?"
Mhm.
And my coach Richard Burmaster at that time just pushed me out there. He's like, "He's getting ready for a fight. He's getting ready for a fight," and he knew who it was, dude. He's like, "Oh, this chick's gonna beat him up."
Mm-hmm.
And I see little old Rose over there, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll go over there. I'll spar with this chick. It's not going to be much, but
Savage.
so I'm like,
He was getting savage mode.
Yeah, I'm like tapping at her. I'm like, and then she starts going boom and connecting. I was like, okay. So I hit a little bit harder, right?
Yeah.
And she hits me a little bit harder, and then I know she just does this little move, and then whapa crescent kick to the dome.
Oh.
Boom! And I had never seen a crescent kick in my life before.
Oh,
I was like, she just hit me with the side of her foot. What happened? Didn't knock me out,
like
but
the
it just
Zohan happened.
it was like just a foot uppercut.
It was like a
The double foot.
Question mark?
She hit me with
That's
a
right.
double foot. No, but like I just remember being like, what just happened? And then like I tried not to make a big deal out of it either, because I was like, oh yeah, we're just kind of.
You tell me the story like maybe every 3 months.
Well,
It stuck with you.
it's because this time it's on camera, and
It's
this
legit.
time she is now
Champ.
the strawweight champ. So
She
it's a
deserved-
bigger deal.
She.
I didn't just get crescent kicked in the face by any old girl.
Oh no.
You know,
She's a beast.
it takes a champ to kick me in the face.
Oh yeah.
Champs respect champs.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Hashtag.
What is it? Gods respect gods.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy. No, Rose Namajunas, I mean, she's just
Savage.
a savage. But I mean,
Savage
I
in a good
really
way.
kind of like the way that she kind of presents herself. You know, she's not being phony. She's just being very
She's
genuine.
being her.
Yeah.
You know,
She's
I-
herself.
Exactly. The same way with like I know I'm a Donald Cowboy Cerrone kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I think that's got to be on my
hard
MMA Mount Rushmore too.
thing-
Cowboys got to be
Right.
up.
I was gonna say, I think one of the hard things, especially now in the age of social media, is I mean you see it all the time, right? You see some biggin girls that take their profile shots and then and they crop out just their face.
Yeah.
And I mean they look very beautiful, obviously all the makeup and everything. And then you see the unfiltered version of the whole body profile, and it's like Mount Rushmore.
It's a little lumpy.
with one head, like they're big, and they have like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of followers on their Instagrams and all that crap,
Right.
and people don't know, just they get sold on that
The tip
idea.
of the iceberg.
Yeah, and I think that's what's happening a lot right now. It's a lot of these fighters that just kind of
Some young.
portraying themselves as someone who they think that people want to see,
Right.
and then they stick to that persona. Whereas like Rose comes along and
Right.
she's kind of more to herself. She's gone through a lot of stuff. Everybody knows kind of the story, and she's made peace with that, and she's figured out that she's not a trash talker like that. She's just kind of there.
Right.
And she's using her background to put light into something that she cares about. And another one like Stipe Miocic.
Yes.
I was just talking to him about him at the podcast with Joe Rogan. First time I ever heard him just kind of hang out, kind of like we're doing right now. I thought he was pretty laid back. I thought he was cool. I was like, man, that's someone I can hang out with.
Yeah, like I was like, oh, that guy's he's a
Steven.
little boring.
As soon as I found out, like, from Cleveland, he's a firefighter, still
Right.
full-time, part-time,
Right.
in between camps and everything, EMT, I was just like, he still does all that while he's training,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Gangster.
I mean,
Well, I mean, one thing, like, I don't know, like, a long time ago, because back when, like, Rich Franklin was UFC middleweight.
Yeah.
And when they did the countdown, him and his buddy, George Gurgel, they were doing strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
And they were talking about it, and they were saying how they train, like, 8 hours a day, and their conditioning program was, like, always moving. They were super tired, and they still had to do, like, another 20 minutes of, like, hard lifting, hard pushing, hard pulling, right?
Right.
This is back in the day, nobody knew what the heck we were doing.
Yeah.
But, and it was just like, wow, like, you really do have to, that's a full-time fighter. I didn't realize it was, like, a full-time job,
Yeah.
Well, like, to that extent, that much dedication. And then you do a little bit more research, you're like, man, those guys were hurting themselves. Constantly. Yeah, they were always, like, wrapped up, bandaged up, because joints were not being rested. They
Right.
were never recovering, Rich Franklin, for a long time, I believe he had a shoulder injury that he was still fighting with.
Yeah.
And it was from that, all the wear and tear that you just never let your body, have a rest from. And then guys like Stipe Miocic come along now. We have more information, technology, and stuff like that. He was talking about how 2 weeks before a fight, he doesn't do any sparring. He just stops. And he just recovers, And even during camps, he doesn't wear heart monitors or anything like that. He just listens to his body. If he feels like it's a good day, he goes hard. And if it needs some rest, he'll take it easy, kind of stretch it out a little bit more, and maybe sleep another hour, 2 hours longer than normal. And I feel like that's smart. That's the way to do it.
I think that's definitely how we run like our training camps.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because like how many hours are we here? Maybe 2 or 3?
3 hours.
3-4 hours a night.
3 hours or so. But that's taking regular classes.
Yeah.
Going through the motions of the classes, and then do like 45 minutes to an hour maybe of actual MMA training.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
Like most of it is just hardworking jiu-jitsu. Like that's where I'm getting all my cardio from.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't ride bikes. I don't ride an actual moving bike. I ride a stationary bike, and I don't go run or anything.
But you do that as like active rest.
Active rest days. And like I feel like I'm the strongest I've ever felt, and I feel like I have the best cardio that I've ever had. I mean, I haven't had to test it, but
well, even then, like I think just kind of the way how we train, like the way we train and we see jiu-jitsu, we're not sporty in any sense, And
it's more of a. I remember I walked in here and we did the first couple of things, and you were kind of like telling us to kind of, I was like, just tap the other person's face when we get into this position, or attempt to do it, and have that added pressure to it. And I was just like, tap the face, and I was like, it's I always thought of jiu-jitsu as like the sport jiu-jitsu,
right?
No one's really you're
not getting punched, you're not getting
hit or anything like that. But then I really started looking at it like from a traditional, or even just as a as a defense thing.
Common sense
kind of way. I was like, okay, yeah, if I'm going to use this, in my everyday life, I'm probably going to get tapped. But I think of those things, and I think that builds to a lot of things, like, ideas like that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I mean, like, the best thing I ever heard when it comes to like training in general, which I apply a lot to jiu-jitsu and to MMA, was a Sean DeHibero, multiple-time world champ, legendary in jiu-jitsu, and he's undefeated in MMA also. And they were interviewing him for Meta Morris, and they were asking him, so have you changed the way you train jiu-jitsu for this submission-only 20-minute match? And he said, no. He's like, but you just got done training for the Worlds, which is in the gi, points, advantages, very technical in that rule set. Going to no gi, either you win by submission or it's a draw. You got 20 minutes. And he's like, no, I don't. I just keep training the way I do. It's like, if you do jiu-jitsu right, you shouldn't train differently for whatever you're going. All you have to do is just kind of memorize the rule sets and play by those rules. But a good, true jiu-jitsu is common sense kind of deal. That's what I took it as. I think I've applied that a lot for myself, and it's kind of gone through everybody here in the gym. And because in the same interview, they cut to this other dude. And if everybody kind of sees that interview, you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say his name. But they were asking him, have you done anything different for this match that's coming up? And he said, yes. I've had to learn a different kind of jiu-jitsu. I've had to rewire my brain so that I can go 20 minutes in the gi with no advantages, no points, so I can hunt for the submission. And I was like, wow, that is very interesting. I would have never thought of something like that. I would never do that in a million years.
Right.
And then, and more recently, I've had to put that into effect with myself personally. With the whole super fights, like Fight to Win pros and Submission Hunter and Battle My Crew. coming into Oklahoma, and all those competitions. I think let me see, what was it? For my most recent Fight to Win Pro match, I actually trained for that particular matchup with the gentleman from Tulsa for like a week and a half, specifically for him.
Yeah.
Other than that, I was just teaching classes and just training, just
doing your thing,
just doing my thing, yeah, and refining what I know. And then for my first Fight to Win Pro, I trained 2 weeks for it, like specific, and that was just to get used to the time. That was it, you know. And then for the Battle of My Crew, I was going up. I actually went up like 2 or 3 weight classes for that one, and I trained 3 days, and it was 3 days of no-gi because this matchup was no-gi.
Right.
And it was just so that I could mentally feel comfortable with the sweat,
right,
in a competitive mindset.
Right.
And that was like the only thing I had to do. I still did the same things that I do in training.
Right.
And actually, in every single one of those matchups, the way I finished the opponent was by the same technique that I was teaching that week. You know, and I thought, wow, that's cool. You know, that's I understand. I think I do, anyways.
Yeah.
What he was referring to, you know.
Yeah.
And the same thing with him when he won the belt, Lola, with the armbar and stuff. We were talking about it. We didn't really drill it. We didn't do much about it. You know, it was just regular classes, and
Right.
like I would walk up to him and just kind of say like, hey, listen, just do this instead. You know, it's modified this way. And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. You know, and then actually, I think it was like the day of the weigh-ins. I kind of pulled him aside just for a second, and I said, "This is the game plan. If you're in your back, don't close your legs. Don't go into full guard. Don't go into close guard. Have your legs open and be ready to climb. Be ready to move. Because the guy is going to go for head position. He's going to be reaching.
Right.
And said, and it's there. You can get back up if you want. It just so happens that he saw the opportunity and went straight for the armbar. It was beautiful. It was right there. You know, same thing like with AJ. You know, like when he first came, started training with me, he was very sporty.
Right.
I mean, like he had an idea of jiu-jitsu,
Right.
but from a very visual, just kind of physical aspect, he wasn't thinking about it. You know, like
Right.
he wasn't feeling it. He was trying to be very perfectionist in a sense, and
Very athlete.
very
athlete,
athletic.
not very kind of like. Okay, that's an awkward way to say it, but very athletic as in a sportsman, but not very as a fighter kind of.
Yeah,
format.
exactly. You know, he had the right ideas.
Yes.
They just were not refined yet.
Yes.
And like that was one of the biggest things. Like when I first met him and he started training with me, is like first thing I told him, I said, "We're gonna break the habit of you stacking yourself." You know?
just did that.
and he was kind of like, okay, what do you mean? And I tried to explain to him, and I could tell that it wasn't clicking. And then he went to a tournament with us for the first time. I was in his corner, and he stacked himself. He went for an armbar, and the guy stacked him because he kind of let him. He had no control in that sense, and he was so focused on the joint that he wasn't realizing that there's more control of the actual position, and he got stacked, and it hurt him. I believe he had a rib injury.
Okay.
It was just a minor rib injury, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
it was like, you know, I hate that happened to you, but like my point,
Right.
you know,
You learn.
yeah, it's like, and you want to fight, you can't do that.
Right.
You cannot do that. And yeah, now he broke all those bad habits I felt that he had for fighting, you know, in general. And, you know, now people are backing out of fights.
Dude, now he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
He's a blue belt that submits brown belts.
Yeah, pretty
He's
much.
crazy.
Yeah, like, you know, that's the one thing. Actually, I was just talking to him last night about it. It's like, you know, my goal was always, when I started training you, was you're going to be a blue belt that was going to be submitting purple belts, brown belts, and giving black belts a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you're a purple belt, you're going to be submitting black belts, and that's it.
Right.
You know? And that's my goal with Victor. That's my goal with anybody that trains with you and everybody here with me, you know? And he was like, yeah, that's true. We've done that. We submitted a couple brown belts. We submitted a bunch of purple belts.
I mean, you could just see from like 15-year-olds we have in here.
Yeah.
They
Savages.
Yeah, for sure.
Savages.
I'm just gonna give them a shout out, like Keelan and Kyler, like
For
y'all keep it up. You're gonna be amazing athletes in the future.
Well, like you said, they're like 15 and 16-year-olds,
Yeah.
and they don't understand jiu-jitsu
Right.
because they're still maturing.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand at that level,
Right.
you know? But for the little bit they do understand, oh, man, those dudes are like savages, you know, like you said. They're monsters.
I mean, they're like my main sparring partner or training partners in here whenever like I'm getting ready for a fight.
Yeah.
Because they've got the agility that a lot of 125ers will have because of that.
Yeah.
Because they're
That
young.
youth.
They just
And they have that tenacity.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
they just want to. They just have that. Like, I want to keep going.
They're the
Yes.
perfect training partners for me, I think.
Yeah.
for anybody, really.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. Like, he won this belt training with 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what does that say about his opponents, you know?
Oh, damn.
You know, and like these guys, I'm submitting them, and I bet you they're thinking like, "Oh man, I bet that guy's really good at jiu-jitsu. I bet you all he does is jiu-jitsu." I'm a white belt, dude. I'm not even that good at jiu-jitsu. Like I keep telling people, like my jiu-jitsu sucks. And then like,
on a side note, I'm a little sad about your birthday picture when we were all kind of like together. Again, I did it. If you didn't notice,
what'd you do?
the stare off into like not towards the camera. I did that during Chris's fight. I did that during your
That's your thing now, man.
Your legacy fight. I did that. I was just like over here, and I was like
He just
you're
gets too
staring.
excited.
We're staring at the camera, and all of a sudden I'm like,
And it clicks.
and then it clicks.
Well,
And
you
that's
practice
all the
right now. You
pictures.
just
No, I do that. This time I saw the camera come up. I was like, Charlie, you're not going to do this. You're not going to do that to yourself. This time again, you're going to take a good picture. And I went for it. And then he goes, okay, second picture. I was like, okay, obviously the first one was way better. You know, he's going to use that one. Obviously, I caught it. I was looking at the camera. But no, I was looking.
he's like,
I'm sorry.
actually,
I got super mad at myself. I looked at it. It posted. And then I was just like,
I actually wanted to go off on that.
Because my girlfriend, and I was like, it happened again. I'm upset.
I can't take pictures right.
I can't
We
take
need to
pictures.
practice this. We're
Our
putting in
pants'
the
heads
mags
are
on.
falling off.
There's like,
I don't know how to tie my gi pants. It's just ridiculous.
just toss it.
But yeah, on that
I'm
note,
just getting a wrestling singlet.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if you saw on like when I reposted that picture.
Uh-huh.
There's like 2 or 3 guys on there that were like, "You a white belt?" And
Yeah.
another guy was like, "Victor's in the gi? You don't train in the gi?" And like I think I'm just coming up on a year now being here.
I think so.
I think
I'm bad with time. I don't know.
it'll probably just be a year.
Wait.
Well, It's
Definitely. It was cold outside. It was getting close to Christmas.
It's like-
Yeah. That
like-
it'd be almost a year.
like in January year or like
No, December. December.
Really?
Because
No,
that's
I
when.
don't think it was December.
No.
Because remember, I had that last Muay Thai fight in October. And then I was over with that boxing gym.
Right.
And then I stayed with the boxing gym.
It's probably around February. I want to
February-ish.
say February.
Yeah, because I remember going to Houston during.
That's right. Okay, I remember because that's when we had that big cold thing, and we were just having a hard time trying to train and all that. And
Yeah.
Oh.
Um,
And then this place.
but yeah, that just goes to show like the difference that it's made.
Mm-hmm.
Like guys thought I had good jujitsu when I had no jujitsu,
Right.
and now I'm a white belt actually training.
I remember when you first came in to an actual jiu-jitsu class and wearing your stretchy pants
Yeah, tuna shorts for life.
and your piranha
Oh yeah,
to be exact.
the white one.
And you're just like, yeah, dude, I did jiu-jitsu for a long time, whatever. I'm like, that's cool. And we did the warm-ups. I'm like, all right, I can kind of see he's done some grappling. I didn't know about wrestling that you had done before, but like I can kind of see that there's a little bit of a coordination going on. Then we started doing the techniques, and it was like, oh my gosh, not one of these guys again. Please, let this guy be different. And I was doing armbar. We were working from in the guard and getting an armbar and flower sweep. And you were doing it wrong. I mean, you were doing it like you had the right idea, but your control was nowhere to be found. And I was like, okay, if he's serious about it, I can work with him. I can fix it. It'll be okay. Just breathe. It'll be fine. And then we started getting to the rounds, and I was just like, what the heck is this guy doing? Like, I went with him first, and he's just spazzing out on me, man. And he just full on force just came after me, and I was like, all right. He's like jumping over me, jumping around, and I'm just like, all right, okay. He's gonna be tired here in a second. And as soon as he stopped to try to kind of do that, I like hugged him, brought him back down to me, and he's like doing everything he can to get away from me, but just the wrong way.
Right.
And I'm just kind of waiting and waiting, and as soon as I would feel him just kind of give up, boom! I just flip him over real quick, and I wasn't submitting him. I was just trying to make it a point that he had no control.
Right. And
I could tell it was just frustrating him. Because I could feel like as soon as I would roll him over on his back, he'd go, and he'd just get all wiry on me. At first time he did it, I was like, oh, whoa, this guy's gonna hurt me.
Yeah.
And so I gotta be, tighter on him, more control. And then after that, I was like, oh, nah, I know what he's doing. I got it. And I just started chopping him down. And then finally, I got him in a submission. And then I didn't see him again for months, I think.
I think it was almost a year.
Oh yeah, almost a year. That's right.
Because I had the MMA fight, and then I took a year and I did straight Muay Thai. I had like 3-4 Muay Thai fights.
Yeah, that's right. Because that night you went with me, you went with Danny, you went with Melissa. And I think you might have gone with AJ. I don't think he was here that night.
No, AJ was here.
Was he?
Because it was a Nogi night.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I remember.
And so then, and I remember after you left. Everybody's like, man, like he is rough. Like he's gonna hurt himself. He's gonna hurt us, And if he's gonna come back, like we need to make sure that we need to be our defense is high because he's gonna grab our necks and just gonna crank on him, know. And back then he was in the whole like Darce choke, Bravo choke.
Dude, everything was chokes.
Yeah,
chokes,
guillotines. He had guillotines. They weren't really chokes. It was just like. Ow, you're hurting me, Victor.
What was that one thing you were telling me? It was like, I can kind of give you a schematic on how to do like an arm bar or a triangle or anything like that, but I can write a college dissertation on like
guillotines. Like that was the joke. Like when we were at the Muay Thai gym, there was always guys like, "Oh, you're an MMA fighter? Dude, can you teach me jiu-jitsu?" I'd be like, "No, I can't teach you any jiu-jitsu. If I can teach you how to guillotine somebody." They would ask me. And so like every now and then I do like a night that I was teaching, and I teach them like side kicks. Or I teach them like something funny. I teach them Superman punch to like a leg kick.
Yeah.
And then one night I had them doing just the chokes, and like that became everyone's favorite. They're like, "Show me how to do a guillotine."
Yeah, I think that's everybody's favorite in the beginning for sure. But yeah, I remember that, and actually, when you came back the second time, I was trying to find a really nice way of letting you down. That like you good at guillotines, but you suck at them.
But you suck at them. You're like, you can get to the position. It's just you're not finishing correctly at all.
And I kept trying to give him hints like, hey, when you go in that guillotine, like try to work this part, not so much here. And he's like, okay, I got it. But like I could see that Victor's like, dude, I know what I'm doing. Don't talk to me. I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone. Right. Show me something else. You know, it's kind of like that. He kind of had that little like attitude look to him that like, show daddy something else. Show me a new trick. And we actually, when you started seriously training, we did, you know, we kind of sat you down and we're like, we're not gonna learn like tricks. You're gonna learn the right way.
Legit jujitsu.
Yeah, you're gonna learn the right way on how to do things. You're gonna learn the right way to move, which is going to make your stand up so much better.
I think that's why a lot of guys like here, like a lot of guys that try and come into the gym and want to be MMA fighters and stuff.
Oh man,
Not
it's
like a downward talk to them want to be MMA fighters, but they want to be MMA fighters.
Yeah.
And they come in and you give them that talk like, hey, here are the things that you're doing wrong that will get you hurt. You need to fix these things.
Right, absolutely.
And they're not open to it. They've got that cocky fighter mentality.
I don't know how many times as a gym owner, and this is something I was ready for, just because I'm experienced in fighting already. When I first opened here, I realized that I needed students. Right? I had my dream, but I needed students. But so I never really advertised. And it was just word of mouth. And people started coming in. Dudes were like tatted up, you know, 4 or 5 professional fights in MMA coming in, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a place to train MMA." And people told me to come over here to you. You know, that's cool. And I would give them the spiel like I do everybody else. Like, we're a jiu-jitsu gym. Our base is jiu-jitsu. Everything we do is jiu-jitsu. When we do MMA, we only train for this long and these many hours a week, but it's still with a grappling mindset in a sense. It's like, we will work with you, we'll help you round out your skills, make everything better. And a lot of them, you know, they have the cockiness to like, well, I'm undefeated in MMA, or I'm, you know, 5-1 or something like that. They couldn't even, I would go to the warm-up and they couldn't even do a hip escape. It's like, dude, you're telling me that you've had 6 pro fights and you can't even do a very simple, you know, hip escape. I would think someone that's a pro would know how to do that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I think someone as a blue belt would know how to do that, but there's many blue belts that don't, so please work on that.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, they would look stupid because they opened their mouth and talked big, and they couldn't even move.
Do half of the stuff.
Right. And so then they would feel, when we would line up, they would feel above everybody else. Like, because they were the pros, right? And they would feel like, because I had a bunch of white belts at the time. No blue belts or anything like that, just a bunch of white belts, beginners. And so they felt like they were above everybody else. And some of them would come in late on purpose to skip the warm-ups. Some of them would come in early and do their own warm-up while we were trying to line up. They were just trying to be a-holes.
Right, yeah, that just seems like, honestly, just like, that's just as a person, and you're like, it just seems very disrespectful.
Right, and like, and I couldn't wait till we got to the round sections, to the sparring sessions, because I would let them up.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily I've had enough experience both stand up and on the ground that I can hold my own. And we would start doing grappling, and my guys that were training for like 2 months, man, they were just like roll them up. You know, they were like making those guys cry.
Yeah.
And then I would go with them, and they'd go, "Oh, my cramp, I got a cramp. Let me take this off." Yeah, sure, man, go ahead. 10 minutes later, okay, I'm ready to go. And they would think I was tired already from rolling with everybody.
Right.
And they didn't realize that I'm just keeping my body warm so I can go full force on them if I have to. And we'd go again. Oh, my cramp's back. And then I would never see him again. You know?
That's a rough thing.
It is. But like Victor said, it takes someone that truly wants to learn and actually take care of themselves, take care of the body, to be successful the right way.
Right.
You know? And it took him a while, but he came around.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like I went from one extreme to the other, and it's just like when I was doing Muay Thai, dude. Like, I was just brutal.
On it, just as a friend on kind of like the outside seeing it, because, you know, as I said, we're friends, so I've known him for 2 years, 3 years.
2-3 years.
2-3 years. And the switch between Muay Thai to Jiu-Jitsu was like almost like night and day. It was just like even like the way that you were like approaching like situations on the outside. You were kind of like, you know, with Muay Thai you were very aggressive, forward, straight, you know. But with you're a lot more calmer. You have a lot more finesse. It's just a total like mood change.
I think a lot of it has to do with just life happens. He's older, wiser, more mature. Yeah, that kind of deal. I think that had just do it. It wasn't the training; it was just him, really.
Well, I mean, it seems to be kind of like that. Like
the training helped. I think the training helped you kind of
catalyst.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of give you the right idea, the blueprint, and the sort. But you know, it's up to him ultimately. Oh man, what's I gonna say now? A lot of it was him learning just not to be emotional.
Right.
Taking that piece out was a big game changer.
Yeah, like that's one thing, and especially with jiu-jitsu, especially with gi jiu-jitsu.
Oh man, like, I remember that. Like, cause I hated the gi. I was like, nope. I had one, not gonna use it.
Yeah, like you, in jiu-jitsu training in general, especially with the gi, especially with the gi, you can go 100% all out and still not be hurt, but still realize where you realistically stand in the food chain.
Right.
Muay Thai or stand-up as a general, you can't go 100% every single day.
Right.
Because if you do, dude, brain damage, you're going to start getting all those bruises from getting leg kicks. Yeah. They're going to add up very fast. Okay? And so you go from being on the top of the food chain to nobody.
Especially those,
those
knee hits.
Yes. You know,
like
and even like just straight boxing, dude. Yeah. When I was training for fights, I was stupid. You know, I didn't know any better. And like the coach that I had at the time, he was still learning it. He was learning the MMA part of the things, and so he didn't really know any better. And it was all about sparring. We had to spar all the time. You know, I think we would train like 20, maybe 20 minutes technique, and like 45 minutes sparring every single day that we could. And man, it was cool because I was young. I was recovering fast, dude. I could go in, spar hard, go to work, have 3 hours of sleep, go to college, come back, do it again for like months at a time.
Right.
No big deal. Now, can't do it. Stupid. And but with jiu-jitsu though, I'm seriously like, you really do know how far you can push yourself, and realistically, you know, where you stand, like I said earlier, in the food chain, and it's a hard pill to swallow.
I remember walking in here and I was like, I'm a big guy. I'm probably the big. I was the biggest.
You are the big guy.
I am the biggest guy here. And I was just like, okay, well, this is not gonna be like. I wouldn't say. It's gonna be hard, obviously, because they know stuff that I don't know. Right. But it's gonna be a little bit easier because I'm bigger.
Yeah.
But coming in here and just working, I think. Okay. Probably wouldn't be a good thing because that was the first time I was here. He's just as tall as me. He's just a lot skinnier. But I think I worked with Kyler, and you know, Kyler's, you know, he's kind of average. You know,
I would say so.
Average height, average build, and
16 years old.
16 years old. Rolled me up into a pretzel and was just ragdolling me everywhere. And there were several moments where. Obviously, I was taking a breath. But I was like, okay, what was that?
Right.
Happened like it was kind of like I don't understand what was going because I remember I would stack on them.
Right.
And I still have that problem. Right. I still do that.
It's a learning curve.
But it's like I'm still kind of like in the kickboxing Muay Thai since like, I'm gonna have the upper, so I can just do anything I want.
Right.
But obviously I can't do that, so it's null and void. But you know, he like twisted his legs and stuff, and I was just like, okay, what is he doing? Just like squirreling around, and then all of a sudden I'm on the ground. He's on top of me. He's got both my shoulders pinned down to the ground, and he was just like, what you gonna do?
My favorite thing to tell the boys now is it frustrating?
Yeah.
Frustrating?
And
but one of the things I was going to say, dude, about training the gi, branching off of what he said, was like, I remember when I was telling him, I was like, well we're going to get ready for an MMA fight.
Right.
Like, it's just, to me, it seemed weird.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was like, no, I want you to train in the gi because it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Not because you're going to use, like, gi chokes or anything. He's like, no, it's just supposed to suck. It's supposed to be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hot. Dude,
And then
I
we'll
was
crank up the
dying.
heater.
I was dying. Like, I remember there was one time that I came in, the first time I came in with the gi, I was sitting like right here and I was like taking off the top, and he's like, no, put it back on.
Put your belt back on.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think I was wearing a rash guard.
That was the thing. Like, I remember, like, first wearing the gi that I got from him, and it was just like, God, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. Like, when I started, I think it was like, what do you say? It's like summer?
Yeah.
Probably like right before it became summer. And I was just like, it's hot in Oklahoma. Obviously, the Chokelahoma. In Oklahoma.
Chokelahoma.
Where's
But
that?
it's just like Stillwater, Oklahoma, to be exact. But anyway, it was just hot. I didn't, like, it would like stick to me, or like I didn't know.
It just hugged you.
It just kind of hugged onto you, and you just didn't know. And like, I didn't know that my toes were going to get stuck in it sometimes, or I was going to get stuck in like different directions with other people, like just trying to move around. You're just like, what? I was like,
why is my hand over
I'm over here on my side, and I'm trying to pull over to the side, but my toe's stuck somewhere, and it's just like, whoa. I just couldn't. Personally, I'm glad that I got to come into the advanced class and kind of like learn all that stuff when it was that time, because I was kind of at a point where I was like learning. Like, I wanted to learn something, but it was something that I wanted to like be interested in. And like, I always had a love for MMA and stuff.
Right.
Jiu-jitsu is a fundamental of MMA. If you do not have jiu-jitsu of any sort, you're probably not going to do.
One of the things, the MMA Fun Night,
Mm-hmm.
remember I asked him, hey, go ahead, stay, man. Come on, join us.
Yeah.
That was for a reason.
Yeah.
And I told him.
I told him about it too.
Yeah, and that was, so, you know, because we were talking about doing the podcast and maybe doing some breakdowns and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, he has no idea what it's like when nothing is going your way. You're stuck underneath someone, and you know you're desperate for air. You're desperate just to get away from someone, and it's so easy for people to say, "Why don't you just get up?"
That's the thing.
You know,
that was the first time ever kind of doing something like that. Like, I remember standing up. I guess there was always that breath.
right? Well, there's nothing collapsing your lungs.
Right. There's nothing. And I kind of looked at it, and you know, I kind of went home, and I don't know why I did this, but I was kind of laying in bed, and I was just like, that sucked. And then I remember the kids like stacking on me, and then Brian stacking on me, and like doing what they wanted.
Yeah.
And like, even though I'd have like a good shot every once in a while, just because like I have the timing. That's it. Timing. But goodness, like, I really need to like pick a shot, move. And
I actually that night I recorded on the GoPro.
Yeah.
And I went back and I was looking at the video, and I saw you. You had some good shots, but it's one of those things where obviously the inexperience of grappling and punching were very, clear.
Prevalent.
Like, you would throw a shot and you would land it or kind of grace the person, but you were so committed to it that they were just throwing you everywhere. And you would land on your back and you'd go, like, seriously?
I'm back here.
Yeah. And you just have to look like, I can't believe, like, I'm the biggest guy here, and the 15-year-old kid is pinning me down. Like, I just can't believe this.
It's a humbling feeling, to be honest. Like, honestly, I recommend anyone to go do it. Like,
absolutely.
Like, it's one of those things. I tell my family don't understand. I tell them I'm going to wrestling practice.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, so you're like in a singlet? I was like, no, I have a gi. He goes like, oh,
pajamas.
Like,
Snuggle time.
Like, I I tried to explain to him, it's like, no, it's like one of those things that like it's something that I feel like everybody should kind of have once in their life.
Absolutely.
Even if it was just something light with like
well,
and
then it goes into like the self-defense thing, you know, and like I get a lot of people, like, everybody contacts me, or I say everybody, but a lot of people contact me about like self-defense, right? And just kind of like the MMA fighters that come in with the predetermined idea of what they want to do, and you know, oh, that ain't gonna work for me. That's not MMA training. Same thing for self-defense. Same mentality, and it's real. I get people all the time, you know, say, hey, do you teach self-defense? Of course we do. Okay. And they come in, and I'll put them on the ground, and I said, okay, get up to your feet. And they get up to their feet, and you know, I know what I'm looking at, and it's like, oh man, that's bad. Okay, we're gonna learn how to get up, do a technical stand up, how to get up away, you know, properly. Okay, then they learn it by themselves, and then they learn it with kind of me standing over them, and they learn it with me kind of kneeling down to them, and then they learn with me leaning on them, and then it builds into me having them in full mount.
Right.
Like I'm on top of them. It's like, okay, get up.
Right.
Get away from me. And like that's self-defense, really. And they come in with the idea like, well, I want to learn, you know, someone throws the punch, how can I catch it, break the elbow, and do like a hip toss, and then I can call 911.
No.
It's like, no, you're not. You have to understand, like,
that's like okay.
Yeah.
It's a cooking analogy, but it's like first learn to make a boiled egg.
Yeah.
And
first learn how to boil the water.
and then
people that want that, like, you know? They always come in here like it's always like somebody who, like, even an older guy who's not wanting to pick fights, he has that kind of like, you're not gonna mess with me, and would go towards a fight.
Yeah, the Hollywood mindset. Everybody, I always refer like every Saturday.
That's it.
Shameless plug. Every Saturday I have an unofficial on the schedule class, and I don't want to say for my seniors, for my older gentlemen or my older people. It's just I kind of call it the master's class. You know, where it's very we work on very specific things, but we take our time. I break it down even more. I have a lot of my 74-year-old comes in. He trains there, which he's pretty awesome at getting up, like getting away from people.
Right.
He's awesome, and I put the pressure on him like I would you or anybody else, like with the intent to put him down.
Yeah.
He gets up, you know. But we do it very specific ways. And I have a couple other people that come in and out, you know, with their grandpas come in and stuff like that. And so I don't want to say like it's my older or my senior class, but it's just, you know, someone's just looking to turn down a notch further than what we do in fundamentals class. And even like with him, when he first came in, he was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I just want to learn self-defense because, you know, my family wants me to learn self-defense because I feel better because I live with myself. I'm like, okay, cool. And so I was talking to him about it, and I'm like, so what's your idea of self-defense? And he's like, well, I don't know. I mean, you're the teacher. Why don't you just, like, teach me how to, like, block a punch and, like, I don't know, like, punch him and like, get out. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of things about self-defense. And, like, self-defense is just more self-awareness, you know, the situational awareness, where you're at, how you're doing, how you're reacting to things. And he's like, no, like, I want you to teach me, like, if someone attacks me and they come from behind and they put me in a chokehold, I want you to teach me how to, like, you know, break their arm and get away. I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's the easy part.
Yeah.
The hard part is you actually understanding why that happened. Because like you said, people go with that mentality, I'm not going to get into a fight. I'm not going to get into a fight. And
they go.
Yeah. So like, I'm training so I won't fight, and then these guys that are training karate for 20 years,
they steer into it.
They steer into it. They cannot wait to show everybody that their training works. And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. I see it all the time. Oh my God. The most recent one I got was this young man, well, I should say most recent, several young men have come in here we want to continue to learn jujitsu. We've done jujitsu in the past,
Right.
like a year ago, 6 months or so, and we got into a fight over at the local bar. You know, big dude, muscle head, knee head, was attacking another dude, and I felt like I needed to step in and defend him, and so we got into it. We started scrapping. And I got knocked down, and this happened. We got in a scramble situation, but the cops pulled us apart. You know, I was that close to choking the dude out. He's like, no. It's like, bad dog. Like, don't ever do that. You know, what are you doing that for? And a lot of, well, especially a lot of young men, and even, well, a lot of young practitioners, and what I mean by young, just beginners.
Right.
They feel like what they learn, they can go out there and be Superman and Supergirl,
right,
and defend the world against evil,
right,
not understanding that there is so much more than just the technique that they're going to use,
right,
and learn, you know, and there's a very famous jiu-jitsu black belt. He's under Dean Lister, and he is also a retired Navy SEAL. His name is Jocko.
I love his podcast.
Right, absolutely. Jocko podcast. Go check it out.
Good.
Yeah.
He's like, I can talk about this. I've seen Jocko and I've heard some of his stuff, but I'm not.
His memes are
So yeah. So his recent video he posted out, which is something that I've been stressing from day one since I've been teaching, and especially when it comes to like self-defense. And you know, he said if you can disengage, break away, run away.
Mm-hmm.
That's your goal. Self-defense, run away.
Yes.
He said, well, why are you gonna stand there and fight? Like, well, Jocko, I want to beat this guy. It's like, okay, let's say he has no skill, but you choke him out, you break his arm, whatever happens. Now you gotta deal with the law.
What did you prove?
So now you're gonna have to pay the guy that was trying to beat you up.
Right.
Does that make any sense? No. You know, okay, what if the guy has a friend of his, or what if the guy has a weapon, and you go in there thinking you're gonna choke this dude out, and you get stabbed.
Right.
You get curb checked.
Right.
You know.
Then you did.
Now what? Yeah, you're either dead. Worst case scenario.
Right.
Best case scenario, you're in the hospital, and then you gotta pay bills.
Right.
Right. A lot of it just comes down to the ego, but he's always, he was stressing like it's jiu-jitsu is to learn how to defend yourself on the ground,
right,
to be able to get back up and break away from the situation. And I've always said it. I haven't said it in that elegantly, but that was always the stress behind it. Where a lot of people now they're like, you get in the fight, in the situation, self-defense, you protect yourself, you take the fight to the ground, and then you choke the dude out, or you break the guy's arm. I understand there are some scenarios, situations where that's gonna have to happen,
right,
but it's not going to be Walt Disney, G-rated movies.
It's gonna be.
You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna scrape.
It's gonna be like
a
Quentin Tarantino.
it's gonna be real.
Kill Bill kind of movies where you gotta break the dude's arm, but you're probably gonna have an eyeball. That's the reality. You just never know,
right?
Especially if there's weapons involved, And I have a lot of friends / acquaintances and old training partners, that young and old that train different martial arts, especially the weapon based. And they're like, if get my foot out of the camera. If this dude comes in, I'm just gonna jack him up with my knife like that. It's like you don't understand the full reality. What you're just saying.
Yeah.
You went from being the victim to being the attacker. That's completely changes the law. And I know a lot of people will probably hate me for this too, but that's just the reality of it. People that train wrong, not the technique wise, but people that train wrong mentally,
right,
are the douchebags and the a-holes that end up getting into fights because they want to prove something to someone,
right,
to themselves,
right,
or whatever, or they want to be on TV and get their 15 minutes of fame because they were the heroes,
right,
and they end up making the situation so much worse.
Right.
They become that girlfriend that always talks smack on everybody because you're the biggest dude on the block,
right,
and you're always getting into fights, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And it's wrong.
Yeah. At
that point, they're no longer doing it for self-defense. They're doing it to become a bully.
Right.
There's a fine line behind that, and people don't realize that, and it's very easy to get caught up in that, especially when you train self defense, quote unquote, and you don't have that safe environment reality check.
Right.
Yeah, and it's so hard, like especially when like you see these guys that like are just straight jujitsu guys, and they're like, oh yeah, man, like. But I would never fight, dude. I'm not about that. I'm not about like putting my hands on somebody. But yet they go out and party, or they go out and wherever they are into the world with that type of mentality.
If you're looking for a fight, you're gonna get one.
Yeah, not only that, but if you have that much of a want to prove yourself,
get in the cage.
There's an outlet for it. Dude.
Yeah, go to the local jiu-jitsu tournament.
You can go to a plethora of things if you want to go. If you want to go fight, I can tell you 5 people to talk to.
Yeah.
Like right now, they're going like, oh, I need a guy in that way. Oh, I need a guy in that way.
Yeah.
And it's that way you get it out of your system. Don't bring that out into like the normal everyday thing. I mean, it's
and even like in everyday life.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times in the gas station, I see a dude wearing his like used to be the tap out shirts and then the Affliction shirts and
now American Fighter,
now, and they're like walking around like mugging everybody, and just because they took like a free trial class somewhere, you know,
they're like, man, I know how to triangle
people, and they're like, dude, it's like you just stop, and there's many people in my professional life outside of the gym, you know, or even just my personal life. They know that I do martial arts. They just have no idea to the extent.
Right.
And so they always kind of see me as this like old school, you know, like the kid with the glasses with, you know, kind of thing. Like, you know, the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And they're always making fun of like, oh, you gonna beat me up. It's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. You know, that's a good one, man. That's a good one. And but they don't realize that if it were to come down to it, and it's something you have to train mentally, obviously.
Yeah.
If it comes down to it, there's gonna be a 90% chance that I'm gonna be the one walking away from any situation that comes hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
You know, I might be limping away, but I'm walking away.
Yeah.
You know, and there's many times too, actually, where I get caught up in the whole thing where I'm in a situation that I don't like, and I'm scared, and it's just because, like, man, this guy's really huge. Like, he can really hurt me.
Right.
Like, oh, what if he punches me? Like, oh gosh. And it's like, wait a minute.
I know shit.
Well, it's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you're gonna get punched. You know, positive thinking is gonna come around. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
No, it's good.
All right, and then and I'm like, what do you think? Like, whatever, you know, like it's gonna happen in a bad situation if I keep instigating it in my mind, you know. And a lot of times it's like, hey man, how's it going? And they go from here to, hey, how you doing? That kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's good to promote with like you know, to de-escalate situations like that.
Always.
That's something that you practice all the time.
Yeah, but more important, it's not just de-escalating the situation externally, but it starts internally.
Yeah.
Like you telling yourself, like, hey man, it's cool.
Yeah.
Max just came out for some love, and he's like, hey, you look like you need a lick.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, be time.
But let's kind of wrap this up. I'm so happy. Like, we left up on I feel like a really good high note that everybody should know, can relate to, and everything. I just want to thank everybody again to coming for the show. Edgar, thank you. Victor, I appreciate you always being on Lola. Thank you. I appreciate you being on the show. Is there any shout outs or any promotions that you like to do?
Any promotion really at this point. I'm just looking for a fight, man.
Yep.
Trying to make my pro debut soon. I'm just looking for a fight, dude. Other than that, Downtown Barbershop, SmackDown Products, and Jiu-Jitsu Academy Stillwater, man. Oh, and Legacy Signs. They've sponsored me for this when I got this belt. So let's give them another shout out.
For sure. My end, man, just same thing, you know, SmackDown Products. Been using those for a long time. everybody that's helped out Victor and AJ in the fights, sponsoring them and whatnot. Another thing too is we have a big announcements coming up called Conquest Promotions. It'll be Showdown in Stillwater. It's going to be a tournament series. It's going to start next June 2018. So look forward to that. We're going to have more announcements over that. Hopefully we can get our man here, Victor, in one of those cards. Also, just kind of give a big shout out to La Jolla de Luna, place where I'm from, down in Mexico. My family members are down there right now, hanging out, celebrating. Couldn't join you guys this time around and whatnot, but I hope everybody has safe travels. And as always, thank you, Charlie, and thanks to Oklahoma Podcast and all of our families, man. All our girlfriends, wives, sisters, moms. Lola, sure. Everybody and everybody that's come in here and they train with us. Thank you guys so much. It's always been a pleasure, and you guys are the reason why people consider us badasses. Yeah.
Shout out to the real MVPs.
Alrighty.
For sure.
Thank you all for listening.